Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Okay. Okay, we are gonna be crack-a-lacking. Got to get ready to kick this pin here. Hope everybody is having a very relaxing Monday. Oh, sorry about that. If you happen to be new to our channel, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we'll be doing another Monday rant and discussion. And today we're going to discuss what's been heading out um, all last week when the news broke in, and and what I'm referring to is, of course, Native Instruments. For those who don't know, they are in financial disarray, and we're going to dig into it. But what I want to say first is to shout out to all the YouTube content creators that um, touch on this topic matter, and because it also made me revise my schedule. I had another subject matter to discuss, but this one intrigued me, so I wanted to take a stab at it. But I'm gonna come at it at a different angle than what all the other YouTubers did. And in fact, there's a couple of them that really took a deep dive in it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm shouting out to them, and I'm going to post their link to to their channel onto the onto I'm gonna pin it onto the I'm sorry, the comment section below. It's not gonna be on the description below. It's gonna be on the comment section below. So without further ado, let's get to it. In a excuse of my little brain fart here. What's going on, everybody? This is House That Speaks, coming to you live from the Chi-Town, Chicago. Hoping everybody's having a productive Monday, and also hope for those who are still living up north or in the Midwest or wherever that's on the cold side, that you're keeping warm and you're checking your loved ones and family and all that good jazz. So, like I said, I heard about this last week when the news first broke. And I knew, like I said, and I also was aware that other channels touch on this, and some touch on it extensively. And those channels who I think that really brought this subject matter home, again, I will be posting their YouTube link onto the comment section. I'll make sure it's pinned. But as I also mentioned earlier, I'm going to address this to another angle. So yeah, it's Native Instruments going bankrupt. Well, we're not going to say that, and you'll find out why when I hit the presentation. So let's go. Okay, is Native Instruments going bankrupt? So what's the hard truth and the sources to back it up? So not only I'm going to be presenting this at another angle, I'm pretty much there's going to be some sources that's going to be on this links. These sources is also going to be included in the description box below, and it should have links to it, so you'll be able to go to these particular sources and read about it yourself. So, like I said, I'm not going to be extensive with what's going on with Native Instruments, because that part has already been done. I'm pretty much going to talk about the um, the preliminary insolvent, and from a financial standpoint. So we're gonna do it like that. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, the hard truth about whether Native Instruments is going bankrupt based on current verified information. And as you saw, there's a couple of sources that I cite on there. If you click on to those links that will be presented at the description box, you will read the article. And it also has, in one of the articles, it actually have a segment on the CEO of Native Instruments and his take on what's going on. Well, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so what's really going on with Native Instruments? Okay, well, from what I gather, Native Instruments has entered preliminary insolvency proceedings. Okay, multiple independent news outlets report that Native Instruments, which is based in Germany, and this was another reason why I really wanted to touch base on this particular subject matter, because for those who may or may not know, I lived in Germany for 2.5 years. I was stationed there. So, that particular country still holds a very special place in my heart. So if anything, any involvements around that country, I definitely want to be aware of. And since this stands for a not only a DJ but a producer's point of view, then I definitely wanted to hit this to you. Okay, the Berlin-based company behind Maschine, Kontakt, Traktor, which everybody know what Traktor is. That's the infamous DJ hardware and software by Native Instruments, and other music tech products, is now in preliminary insolvency proceedings under German law. Now, just to let you know, this is not Native Instruments filing for bankruptcy. Okay, now from what I gathered and read, the way Germany handles businesses that's in financial difficulty, they handle things different than we do here. Here in the States, of course, if a company is in financial difficulty, yeah, they will do some proceedings, and then eventually that company will probably file for a chapter, will file for bankruptcy. I think it's chapter 11 if I'm not mistaken. But anywho, in this particular instance, okay, their first step is to go through the procedure of preliminary insolvency. So that's that's the first step of a company who's in some kind of financial difficulty. Okay, and here we go. In Germany, insolvency proceedings signal that a company's current financial structure is no longer sustainable without external oversight. So now, looks like the German government is going to get involved because unfortunately, Native Instruments finances it's not in order. Okay, whatever's going on with their financial standing is no longer sustainable to keep their company afloat. So now the the German government is about to step in, and this is their way of doing it. Okay, a court-appointed insolvency administrator has been named to oversee reconstruction. Now, which means that, again, the German government has intervened. Now they appointed a administrator, and they're going to oversee they're going to oversee the finances. They're going to want to know what's going on with Native Instruments finances, why their finances not in order, and for them to be in such trouble when it comes to their company structure. Okay, now this process typically involves evaluating the company's debts, assessing whether it can continue to operate, potentially selling parts of the business, of reorganizing operations. Operations. Uh-oh. Looks like Native is a Native Instruments been getting a little naughty. They have not been watching where they should be watching, and now it looks this is like maybe the first step for their company to be resolved. They may be piecing up their business entities, or like we said, this may be the next step for them to go to go to bankruptcy. Okay. Now, important distinction. Okay, preliminary insolvency does not equal to automatic full bankruptcy. Now, that's the difference between how they do business there in Germany and probably in Europe versus how you do business here. Usually, when we hear a company's in financial difficulty, what will we automatically think? Uh-oh, the company's about to go bankrupt, about to go belly up. Oh boy, they're in trouble. All right, that means, or they're gonna get audited. You know, a lot of things, a lot of wheels start turning on that particular aspect. I mean, the same here with Native Instruments, but this is the first stage of their of what's going on with them. So this preliminary insolvency does not mean okay the final decision is boom bankruptcy. No, they're going to strategically look at their finances, look at their debts, look at their operations, and see what's going on and why they are in the situation that they are in currently. Okay. So, like I said, preliminary insolvency do not equal automatic full bankruptcy or shutdown. That means um, Native Instruments still going to be doing business as usual. They're not going to be shut down. Okay. It's effectively a court supervised rescue and reconstruction phase. So again, now the German government is about to step in, and they're going to find out what's going on with their finances, with their operations, with the structure of the company, and then they're going to come to the conclusion what's going to happen they after their findings. Okay, I just want to let people know this definitely tells the difference between how companies in Europe does business, especially especially when that company is in some kind of financial difficulty versus how it's done here in the US. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so what preliminary insolvency really means? There's a method behind this madness. So we're definitely going to break it down. So Here we go. Here's how this stage works in practice. Here we go. A preliminary insolvency administrator takes control of major financial decisions, which means now Native Instruments no longer have any say regarding their finances. That has been taken over by a third party, which means the German government has assigned an administrator, and they're going to take over from there. Again, it does not mean that Native Instruments is going to be shut down. It just means that a third party is now going to take over their finances and see what's going on. Okay. Creditors are temporarily restrained from seizing assets directly. So that means the creditors can't touch them. They can't take them. They can't collect anything. So which means anything involving the creditors will have to go through now the administrator who's resigning the preliminary insolvency proceedings. Okay. The goal is to stabilize the company, evaluate debts, and decide whether a viable reconstructing or sale is possible. So they're going to look at the finances. They're going to look at the operations. They're going to look at the bookkeeping. They're going to look at the accounting. They're going to look at the libraries and assets. They're going to go through all the necessary financial apparatus to see where does Native Instruments lies as far as a company is concerned. Okay. It can lead to a full bankruptcy or liquidation later, but it doesn't guarantee that outcome. Now, just because Native Instruments is under this particular insolvency procedure, it does, like I said, it does not mean that they're bankrupt, and it also does not mean that the final call is going to be liquidation. Again, the business is going to be done as usual. It's just now administrator, third party is going to handle the financial aspect of said business. Okay. This is roughly equivalent to a Chapter 11 reconstruction in the U.S. I think I mentioned that before, where a company isn't declaring, I don't want to say that, the D word, is trying to reorganize under court supervision. Again, the German government now is taking over. And from what I was also reading, not only the German government is involved, the actual EU is involved as well. So you have to know, when it comes to companies residing in Europe, each country takes it seriously. Okay, you cannot be doing any shady, blah blah blah, without the eyes of that particular country's government, and also EU knows about it, and then once they know about it, they're gonna get involved. So whatever's going on in Native Instruments, it's not looking good for them. Okay, but the matter is, okay, yes, Native Instruments is in insolvency procedures. No, it isn't necessary a full bankruptcy and a shutdown immediately. Again, Native Instruments will be conducting business as usual. So for those DJs and producers out there who's either using Traktor or still using some kind of software or even plugins, if you're a producer, you'll still be able to use those products that you purchase and the updates that comes to you still be able to take advantage of that. It's just that, again, Native Instruments is still going to be doing business as usual. It's just that now an outside entity is going to be analyzing their finances. Now, but the future depends on whether it secures reconstruction plans, sells assets, or find new investment. That's pretty much going to be the result of whatever's going to happen with Native Instruments. When all is said and done, either they will still have the company intact, or some of their assets is going to be sold, or hopefully they can find someone that's going to invest in Native Instruments. Now, they had investments in the past, and and whatever happened, those investments no longer doing business with Native Instruments right now. So, but I think there's been some, I read some on it. There's some articles on that. So if you want to search on that yourself, feel free to do so. Next slide. Okay, now why this matters? I mean, anytime you're dealing with a company of this magnitude, especially when it involves, DJs and producers, it matters to us. We want to know if we can still rely on your company to give us the products and services that we enjoy. And if we don't have that confidence in you any longer, then that's going to be that's going to be a reflection on that said company, and the consumers, which is us. We're probably going to end up taking our business elsewhere. So this does matter. But what it says is Native Instruments isn't just a small niche brand. So I want people to know, whoever never heard Native Instruments before, trust me, they've been around for a minute. As a matter of fact, it's been a major influence in music production and DJing for decades. I know Traktor's been out for a very long time before I even started DJing myself. And I only been DJing since 2017. And I know DJs who use Traktor then and still use Traktor now. So I know for that particular standpoint, Native Instruments has been out there. Okay. Which widely used products and tools. But layers of financial stress, ownership change, market pressures, and restructuring decisions appear to have brought the company to this critical inflection point. I'm sure it has, because I know for certain when it comes to Traktor's hardware and software, they've been, and compared to the other hardware and software DJ apparatus that's out there, they've been far behind for a long time. I've been following DJs who has been avid Traktor users, and they are highly disappointed on what's going on with Traktor. I think just last year they finally came out with an updated software, and they came out with a new hardware. But that was years before they did that. And now, unfortunately, you know, last week we find out now their parent company, which is Native Instruments, is in trouble. So that's probably going to have some of these DJs and some of the producers that use their products kind of worried. Cause I didn't, like I said, I don't follow channels who even mention their worried, they're being worried. Okay, so at this stage, products and license don't instantly disappear. So that means for those who still have a tractor hardware, software, those who still have, have purchased some of their plugins, don't worry. Your license ain't gonna go away. You're still gonna be those things are yours and yours to own. So you don't have to worry about them taking that from you. If that's your worry. Okay. Development, support, and updates may slow or change direction. Some business units could be sold or merged into other companies. NI could be reshaped under new ownership or a new corporate structure. All all of all those outcomes are possible, and none of them are guaranteed yet. So right now we don't know what's going to be the outcome. This is the first stage of what's going on with Native Instruments. So we're just going to have to wait and see. And I guarantee you this: when something does break regarding Instruments, I will present it to you in a Monday rant and discussion. So look, give you a heads up on that. Next slide. Okay, so this is sources backing this assessment. As I always mention here on Monday Rant Discussion, most of everything that I we do here is based on, of course, my opinion, but I also follow by research. But if I'm touching a subject matter where it's been out, in the YouTube in the underground dance music world, I'm gonna make sure that I cite my sources. So also, if you guys, who's listening or checking me out, you can actually go to these sources and read it yourself. Never take anybody's word for it, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Always do your own research. Always make sure they're citing their sources so you can go and look for it yourself. So here are the concrete current sources confirm what's happening. Okay, reports confirming NI preliminary insolvency procedures under German law and appointment of insolvency administrator. That's going to be that's the link that you can check that out. Okay, independent news outlets reporting on the restructuring and what it applies for the company's future. You can check out on a resident advisor and analysis explaining that preliminary insolvency is not the same as final bankruptcy or closure, and you can check that out if you want to know the difference between the one or the other. Okay, I think that should be it, unless I have one more. Oh, okay. The bottom line. Okay, we're gonna bring this all home. Okay, and the bottom line is this: Native Instruments. It's not currently defunct, but it is in serious financial reconstructing. Now, as I've been in finance for a very long time, that's, yeah, everybody has to have a day job, got to pay the bills. I am full aware of when a company is saying financial reconstructing, what can happen and what the procedures are, you know, currently. Okay, whether it survives, it acquires, is split up, or goes into full bankruptcy later will depend on how these insolvency proceedings unfold. So that's the state of Native Instruments today, ladies and gentlemen. They are not into bankruptcy. They are. This is a preliminary procedure that's being conducted, you know, at their base country in Germany, and they already got an administrator in place who's going through the proceedings. So, only time will tell as these proceedings are ongoing what's going to be the end result for Native Instruments. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope everyone had a full, you know, education on what's going on with Native Instruments, and I hope I was able to answer any questions that you may or may not have. And also just make sure that the sites that, you know, the resource sources that's there, that you check those out. Again, I will be posting everything that you saw here at the on the description box below, and I also will be posting um, YouTube channels where they took a deep dive on this incident with Native Instruments, and that will be pinned to the comment section. So, this is House Head Speaks. You know, wishing everybody a happy Monday and enjoy your work week. Again, if you new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I'll be doing another Monday rant and discussion. So, wishing you all peace and love.